Hi, and welcome to Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and also consider other important aspects of working for yourself, being self-employed and running a small business. So today I'm going to talk about how much to charge. Before I move on to that, if I could please ask you to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll easily be able to refer back to this information if you should need to, as well as being able to find other information that we have available on a whole host of different topics, all aimed at supporting you in your self-employment. And you will find everything catalogued in our playlist. So if you look for the playlist that is your scenario, then you will find the information that is there to support you. So back then to charging. So always a tricky subject to cover, but we have been asked quite a few times now if we could talk about this. So we're just going to start off very sort of basically on the things to consider when you're deciding how much to charge. So one of the most important things that you need to think about is how much you need to earn and what your costs are going to be. So you need to have some sort of cash flow forecast to have an idea of what you expect to be having in and out of your business, because of course it goes without saying that you need to be able to cover the costs of your business. And we're not only just talking about the cost of sales, depending on what type of business that you are running, but we're talking about all of the costs, everything that you have to pay in order to get the income for the business, all the things that you need to be able to cover. So, for example, if you are a sort of manufacturing type business, then of course whatever you sell your products for needs to cover the costs of making them, but it also needs to contribute towards the general expenses of the business that aren't necessarily related just to that product. So things like advertising, your stationery, your telephone costs, all of those sorts of things you need to be covered. So it is important that you do your forecasting. A profit and loss forecast as well as a cash flow forecast would be advisable. But of course, if you don't know what your total costs are expected to be, then you can't be sure that you're going to cover them. You also need to look at what is a generally accepted price for either your service or the product that you're selling. It may be that your product is superior in some way to another product that you're comparing it with, and so of course in that respect you would expect your product to be higher. On the same in the same sort of vein, if you're a service provider and you're providing a service, then of course however much you're charging for that service should reflect everything that goes into providing that service, and also the level of experience, I would say, is very relevant in a service industry. So that's two things that we've talked about so far, is looking at making sure that you cover your costs, and also to compare what is the generally accepted market value. Once you've decided your costs, then you should be quite confident when you're telling your customers or your clients what your cost is, because of course it is human nature for consumers and clients to want to always have the lowest price available. And of course, what your client or your customer needs to understand is that actually they also need to be paying for what the value of what they are receiving. So be confident when you're saying your prices. And also, if somebody is trying to tell you that your price is too high, then you need to, of course, take feedback from your customers and clients. So if everybody is telling you that your price is too high and nobody's buying your products or services, then of course you need to review whether the prices are too high. But if generally you are making a good profit from your products or services, and it's just the occasional person that's telling you that, then you need to understand that there will always be people that do want to try and reduce the price that's paid. So you need to take an overview, and yes, of course, always be questioning, always be aware of any feedback that you're getting, but make sure that you are taking it in the context that it's given, and you're not making knee-jerk reactions to one-off comments. Also, if somebody is questioning your price, then be sure to check what they're actually comparing the price with. So it could be, for example, that they're comparing with the price of an inferior product or a lower qualified service. So don't be afraid to point out why your product or service is worth more than what you're being presented with as a comparison, because of course, if you are providing a higher level of service or a higher quality of product, and you're trying to compete with somebody providing a lower quality, then of course, because they're providing a lower quality, then their costs are going to be lower, and you are not going to be able to compete with them. So it's important to know what your competition is, who your competition is, and whether you actually are actually competitors, or whether they are a different level in the market. And of course, if somebody comes to you and they don't want the higher quality that you're providing, then of course you shouldn't try to compete with somebody of a lower level. So in most products and most services, you will of course have sort of varying levels of what we would sort of expect in terms of quality, in terms of experience, perhaps in sort of services. So it's important that you're comparing like for like, and if somebody isn't providing a similar product to you, that you're not trying to compete with them just to make the sale. Because of course, once you have reduced your price, it's very difficult then to sort of go back up. So it's just important to take the time at the start to do that proper research, to get your prices right, and then to be confident in them. Yes, of course, review them with your financial information from your accounts, which you would hope to be looking at on perhaps a monthly basis, to make sure that you are still covering your costs. And once you set that price, just be confident with it. So sort of key points then: do some forecasts so you know what your costs are expected to be. Make sure that you're going to be covering your costs and be earning sufficient money after you've paid your tax for what you need to earn. Have a look at what the market rates are for your product or service, and keep it in review, but make sure that you take feedback in context, and just be confident in your prices that you've set. Just remember that some people will just want to try and get you to lower your prices. And if you're not willing to do that, then you should be confident that this is the price that I'm charging, and you should be willing to, in that scenario, to lose the sale if the person isn't prepared to pay the price that you're asking for. Again, and this is all very general, and specific products or services may alter from this, but it's just some general things to sort of set you on the lines of thinking about. So thank you very much for watching. If you found this information helpful, please do hit the like button. That helps us to know which topics to focus on when we're answering your questions, which you're finding the most useful. Thank you, and please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.